I had to be the life of the party, and I wanted to be accepted. When loneliness is like deep in you, you want to find any way you can to fill that emptiness. It would just be me and a bottle of vodka, filling up that glass, sitting by myself and drinking it, just knowing that I was numbing this pain that I had. And I knew that I was actually falling deeper into a hole. For me, it all started basically when I was 6 years old, and when I can remember that my parents were getting divorced, and then the family was just, breaking apart, and things weren't going to be the way that they used to. Mom, she had to support us and take care of us, provide for us. When I would get home from school, Mom wasn't around. She was still at work. I was a lonely kid, a lonely kid who was more or less the neighborhood orphan. I would go from door to door. I was that kid that was always at the doorstep, annoying the heck out of you, eating all of your food, disrespecting your stuff, and wearing out my welcome. So yeah, this kind of seeking and looking for a place, a family, a community has just always been a part of my life, and that's where it started. All the way through middle school and even up until high school, I was that kid. And I decided, okay, I'm not gonna be this kid who starves for negative attention, who doesn't have many friends, and I'm gonna actually, it's gonna be a whole new type of life. I was the captain of the football team, I was everybody's friend, I was prom king, and I was partying. Eventually that kind of evolved into me being a high schooler who was actually going into the city and going to clubs. I graduated high school and I decided to dive completely into that lifestyle. I became the head of security at this one club and was bouncing at another, and was learning how to bartend, and eventually became a bartender, and all the while just partying until the sun came up. When life was good, I had all these people around me. Like, I had everyone around me and things were going great. But when something would go wrong, or I would feel this hit of depression, I would be alone and by myself, and it would just be me and a bottle of vodka, or me and a bottle of Gentleman Jack. I would drink the whole thing just in one sitting, and just that party lifestyle just got out of hand. Drinking every single night, smoking weed all the time, different relationships, different girls. I would realize I really didn't have anything or anybody. All I had was this alcohol next to me. Like, those lows just outweighed those highs. So then I remember one night I had just drank so much, and I had the worst hangover in the morning, and my mother called me and she wanted me to meet her. And so she said, you can come meet me on my layover, you can come meet me and we can hang out for a little bit. And I said, Mom, I will not make it. But then I said, you know what, Mom, even if it's just for 5 minutes, I would love to see you. I need to see you. I'm gonna make the trip. I'm gonna come out, I'm gonna see you. Here I am, headache, hungover, bloodshot eyes, just trying to, smile. And there she is beaming. She was just this light, like Christ was just shining through her. When I saw her, I was like, I need that. I need that light. I want that same light. I remember, like, throughout my whole life, my mother depended on Christ. Like, Christ provided for her. Christ pulled her through the hell of being a single parent and having to provide for 2 kids and work late into the evening and, 6-7 days a week. Like, Christ pulled her through that. And it's because of Christ, she was beaming. So I saw this and I was just like, okay, I don't know where else to go. I told her, I was like, Mom, I'm going to church. And I just remembered Grace Fellowship Church from when I was a little boy. And we would, every so often we would go. And so I remembered that, and I said, I have to get to Grace. So I raced up, up 83 and came to Grace, and as soon as I entered into the building, I was like, yeah, this is where I need to be. And I was still feeling like terrible, like physically just. But I walked in and I knew this is where I needed to be. And I sat down and I heard the message. It was about, how if life is weighing you down, like, bricks in a sack on your back, if you're burdened with something, how Christ comes into your life and releases you of that. And when I heard that message, I was like, oh my gosh, this is for me. And it was almost as if like Christ was reaching down and like putting his hand on me and just saying, you don't need any of that. I'm enough for you. I left the church that day, threw out all the alcohol, I threw out the cigarettes, I stopped partying, I quit with the club, and I just started reading and being with the Lord, and it was just so fulfilling. It was not lonely. It was like Jesus has always been just walking with me. He rose from the dead, and he resurrected my life. That depression, that loneliness, that dark hole, the alcohol abuse, like that is dead. Just as, Christ died on the cross and rose from the dead and was resurrected, like my life has been resurrected. And that's how Jesus met me.